Here it is, Pegasus Therapeutic Riding, 843-650-9234. We're going to learn all about it on today's Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at Myrtle Square Mall. We're at the offices of the Myrtle Beach Herald-Star, a locally owned and operated weekly newspaper. And we're visiting with Meg Atkinson, the founder and instructor at the Pegasus Equestrian Center. Good morning, Meg.
Good morning.
Thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Incredible opportunity to highlight Pegasus today, to get you all in, to think of highlighting an institution that obviously has just gotten its founding, but to think about going forward and a really exciting fundraiser coming up on May 4th. I wanted to get you in to highlight that. Real quick about yourself. Are you originally from the area?
I'm originally from Florence, which but Myrtle Beach has always been a place that I call close to home and spent a lot of time growing up in Florence at the beach, but I grew up and went to high school in Florence, South Carolina.
You still get back to Florence, Meg?
Absolutely. All of my family is still there and spend a lot of time in Florence as well.
One thing I know in talking to you, Meg, you've got an incredible role as a child advocate and have been very involved with children for a heck of a long time. Can you talk about your involvement as a child advocate?
Yes, those who know me know I started out with a career in interior design and became a guardian ad litem approximately 4 years ago, just as a volunteer. That led to many things, including Pegasus, but that role is, the short definition of a guardian is that we are the voice of the child in court. So we are court appointed. We are brought in whenever an abuse and neglect case goes into the court system. We are assigned to a child or children, and we remain with them throughout the process of being in court. We mentor, we file an independent report to the judge, and we advocate for the child. Our only interest is the child.
Is there special training for this position?
There is a 30-hour course, I believe it is, that the program initiates and puts you through to start with. At the current time, the Guardian program is run through the governor's office, and there is a state staff and a county coordinator and training director that also conducts some training with you in class, and then they support you throughout your assignment of your first case. Of course, your first cases are often, a little easier than maybe as you become a veteran to the Guardian program. Obviously, with so much focus on children, can you think of the most important part of the job as an advocate and maybe the most difficult? The most important part of the job is the fact that the children that I have advocated for, I've sometimes saved their lives, and that's not a credit to me. It's just the opportunity is there for you to make that much of a difference. As an advocate, you're very well respected by the court, and you make a difference to these children. Because your focus is on that child, whereas the Department of Social Services may have a higher caseload, you give a lot of attention to the case and file an independent report, and often make an extreme difference in the outcome of the case. Obviously, Meg, your love of children and your advocacy of children had some role in helping you found Pegasus as a therapeutic ride center. It did. I became more and more involved in advocating for children. I had a case, of course, we're bound by a certain amount of confidentiality on our cases, but I did have a case that was a severe abuse case of a child that there was neurological damage, and I did research about, this was a young child, and remapping of the brain, and this brain injury led to horse therapy. So then, of course, having a background with horses, I did more and more research only to find out that horses were used quite often with children in both abuse and neglect, as equine facilitated mental health therapy and physical therapy. The opportunities were endless there.
So in this position as a guardian ad litem is how you really came about doing research on equine facilitated therapy.
Yes.
What exactly is that? For viewers who may not understand, I mean, this is difficult to understand possibly, but could you break it down?
Yeah, it's difficult to understand, and it's hard to understand without seeing it, however, and we have some volunteers that are also here that can tell you a little bit about it as well. What it is it's using the horse as a partner to the therapy process. The horse becomes a partner in that, especially in abuse cases. These children have been, harmed by people. They don't trust. They're sometimes not very verbal, withdrawn. They lack confidence. The horse becomes an instrument to address all of those issues where a different therapeutic setting that isn't possible. Physical therapy using horseback is also very popular in that the movement, the size of the horse is customized. We do a custom program for each case with a physical therapist, and it's movements that cannot be duplicated in a different setting as well. So the horses are we call them angels in disguise sometimes because, and then what they do to help these children beyond the controlled environment that we have them in, it's just unbelievable.
Meg, where is Pegasus located?
We're on McDowell Shortcut Road, which is near Inlet Square Mall in Merle's Inlet. It is behind St. James Middle School. It's the road that connects 707 in two places, so you can get to us either way.
Right.
Yeah, and we're in a leased facility right now, but it's a beautiful, it's about 20 acres of barns, and we have an indoor arena, wooded areas, and 16 horses, miniatures, dogs, cats, all kinds of.
It is beautiful, I know.
It is a haven for animals and children.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Have you always owned horses, Meg?
I've owned horses as a child, very, very young. I knocked my brothers off the rocking horse and owned a horse from the time I was probably 6 or 7, competed as a teenager. Once I went to college, though, the horse career ended for about 20 years until this opportunity came up, and so then I felt like it was time to go back into horses and partner it with this project. So.
And can we talk about the ages of children who become a part of the project, who become a part of the of Pegasus?
Yes, we say we start at 4 years. I guess younger than that. We certainly sit children on horses that are younger, but riding. Most of our children ride on a weekly basis to affect the greatest benefit. So that's usually 4 years and up. But, there's no real limitation to that. Of course, we have adults that say, when are you going to do adult horse therapy as well?
Sure.
And it's certainly therapeutic for me, too. But 4 is probably the youngest. The disabilities that, we work with, I have taught children who are blind how to ride. We also have a girl that works for us at the barn, cares for all of the horses, is magnificent. She is hearing impaired and has been since birth, and we work with kids. We have someone here that will talk about some of the work we do with autistic children. The list of disabilities that we can serve is endless.
And how many children are you all able to accommodate now, Meg?
We are accommodating around 15 children per week, 15 to 20 children per week. Some of our fundraising efforts are so that we can grow and hopefully, work with more children, accommodate more horses, more instructors, and do more. I do not want to grow. I've seen programs that ride 100 children a week, and in my opinion, they lose something there. I still want to keep our focus per child very exclusive to each child so that we make a greater difference than 100 children per week.
Meg, how are the children or their parents finding out about Pegasus right now?
Right now it's word of mouth because we don't have the budget for an extensive marketing campaign, and it's mostly referrals by others who have their children who have ridden and have great success. We also have a referral base through mental health professionals that started with us last summer. We did a class of sexually abused teenagers, at-risk teenagers, and they have continued to refer to us. The Department of Disabilities and Special Needs, the foster care system, MTS, which is Managed Treatment Services, which is a greater level of foster care, sometimes refers to us. So it's a lot of different people in the community.
If a viewer was interested in learning about Pegasus, would there be a phone number they could call?
Yes, they would call 650-9234. Now, we are often out, with the horses, with the kids, and we don't have an administrative person there answering the phone, but by all means leave a message and we will certainly return the call.
843-650-9234.
Yes.
Do you have folks within the PD area or other parts of southeastern North Carolina other than the Horry, Georgetown County area who have contacted Pegasus or have heard about you that have come down?
Yes, I've actually had some calls from Florence, probably because I'm from there and my family is still there and certainly believes in the program and the word of mouth there. But we've had, Georgetown, Conway, Gallivan's Ferry, Florence. So we are extending beyond just the immediate area.
Now, can you talk real quick about how you work with a child and just what the child's learning?
Each child fills out an application, and depending on where the referral is from, we get a lot of additional information about that child, whether it be from the parents, what their current diagnosis is, what their physical disability is, what the emotional disabilities may be. If it's ADD or ADHD, we also speak with the school-based counselors if necessary. We also have referrals that come from schools as well within the school systems. So we first analyze the diagnosis and then we do a program based on that diagnosis. What might be some of the best things to do in the lessons to address those issues.
And Meg, who's paying for the services right now?
Right now I am. Which, I told someone one day, we had several kids out one day, and it was just a phenomenal day, and I told someone I wouldn't trade it for $1 million, which is about what it's costing. So, but we are a 501c3 corporation, and we depend on community support. It mandates that I cannot continue to support the program to that extent. We have to get the word out and solicit financial support out in the community. But we also have had some success with corporations. I think Home Depot who is near us, they have donated some materials and things to us. Several corporations have expressed an interest.
And you can also take volunteers, Meg.
Absolutely. We are always adding to our list of volunteers. I have wonderful volunteers that often come weekly, and work with the same children. Autistic children don't like change, so we like to ask those volunteers to commit to weekly volunteering weekly. We have volunteers that come occasionally. We have volunteers that walk the horses, sidewalk with the children, volunteers that help with fundraising, volunteers that help come out and build things as needed, which may be something. I've had men say they are intimidated by the horses or children that have disabilities, so we can put them to work as well doing something different. Yeah.
Don't be intimidated by the horses. Meg Atkinson, founder and instructor at Pegasus Therapeutic Rod Center, the Equestrian Center. If you want to contact her about donating, 843-650-9234, or to volunteer. Meg, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
Stay tuned to more Carolina People coming up next. Good morning. Welcome back to Carolina People. This morning we're focused on Pegasus, and we're visiting with Linda Burgess, a parent of 2 autistic children involved in the Pegasus Therapeutic Ride Program. Good morning, Linda. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
When we think about Pegasus, we think about much of what's happening on a regular basis out at this Therapeutic Ride Program. What exactly is autistic or autism or an autistic child?
Well, autism is a neurological disorder, and it's got a very broad spectrum, but some of the basic characteristics are children that are nonverbal, don't give direct eye contact. They'll look up into space or downwards, hand flapping, rocking back and forth. Those are some of the characteristics of a child with autism. And non-social.
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 How difficult has it been for you and your family to cope with two autistic children?
Dealing with the diagnosis was very difficult. However, once you get over the shock of that, you just get on with the program and figure out what you can do the best way you know how to give your kids support and get them the education and the help that they need.
Absolutely. When did you first become aware of Meg Atkinson and the Pegasus Equestrian Center?
When Meg brought a pony named Pebbles to church at All Saints Episcopal Church, they have a Grace Church that's held one Sunday a month. And she brought a pony to church for the kids to see. All those children are special need children, and that's how I found out about the program.
Wow, that's fantastic. And were your boys involved in therapeutic programs prior to getting active at Pegasus?
They do outside of school occupational and speech therapy.
Okay. How many lessons have your boys been given at Pegasus?
Parker has had about 8 to 9 lessons now. And Philip has had about 7.
Can you gauge, when you think about the experiences of prior to their involvement at Pegasus and the present, how some of the changes have occurred in their lives?
Yes, my oldest son Parker smiles a great deal. He seems to be more self-confident. Some of the scanning that he does, which is an autistic behavior, has gone away considerably. And his spontaneous speech has improved a great deal. And Philip, we're working a little bit harder on him. He's more severely autistic, and he's very sensitive to having something on his head, like a helmet. But he's making great progress. He went around the rink last week for 1 whole trip and a half with the helmet on, so that's good progress.
That's fantastic, absolutely. Can you compare how the Pegasus program has differed from other therapeutic programs they've been involved in?
I think as far as the horseback riding, I think that's helping them a lot, because a lot of children with autism need the self-stimulation, whether it's the bouncing or the rocking or whatever. This seems to help get that out of their system. And make them feel more in their own body. They don't necessarily know how to feel about things, where their body is really placed, and so this is helping them adjust to it. So I think this is probably a really good thing for most parents to get their kids involved with who have autism.
Are you aware of other folks in the community, that have autistic children?
Yes, I am.
Is it very common or very rare?
It's becoming more common. I guess at one time it was more rare, but it seems to me Parker was in a classroom last year with 4 autistic children. This year there's 10.
Boy.
So it's increasing.
And when you think about the benefits your sons have derived from activity in the Pegasus program, can you think about what some of those primary benefits would be?
There's their confidence, their self-confidence. I just feel their spontaneous. Philip is more nonverbal. Parker's spontaneous speech has greatly improved. They just seem happier.
You'd recommend the Pegasus program to parents of other autistic children?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Is this pretty obviously you're committing the time, and so you're going to make it, you're going to commit the time to your sons, whatever it takes, I'm sure. But what's some of the time involved when you go out to the Therapeutic Ride Center?
Meg spends a good hour with the children, and she sort of extends that also because, they feed the horses carrots and things afterwards. They have to walk the horses back to the stable, and they feed the horses a treat. And so it's a good hour that she spends with the children. And it's in my case, it's 2 hours a week because I take the boys on 2 separate days. So it's a 2-hour a week thing to go.
Linda, can you just share real quick what you as a mother have gained from your experience of watching your sons participate in the Pegasus program?
You get a smile. A smile on my face. They look happy. They seem to be enjoying it. So that's rewarding for me, just to see them doing something fun and happy.
Linda's been able to see her sons doing something fun and happy and the smile on her face. I'm sure her sons can feel that, and it's been a lot to all of them. Linda, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Stay tuned to more Carolina People coming up next. Good morning. Welcome back to Carolina People. This morning we're focused on a day at Pegasus, to be held May 4th at the Pegasus Equestrian Center, and we're visiting with Kathy Swantek, a volunteer with the Pegasus Project. Good morning, Kathy. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Following Meg and Linda, the experience of someone who actually founded and is actively involved in Pegasus, and a parent, the experiences for you as a volunteer is intense as well. Can we talk real quick about yourself? Are you originally from the area?
No, I'm not. I'm from Toledo, Ohio. And we moved here in '94. My husband is a retired policeman, and fell in love with the area. Decided to move here.
Anything in particular that prompted your move?
We are both golfers, and which I haven't had time to do, but we love to play golf.
You've had time to give to Pegasus. What
Yeah.
prompted you to get involved?
We had a lady in our community that wrote a newsletter this woman is phenomenal, and the article touched my heart, and then I saw it again in the newspaper, and I decided that I'm going to be part of this program. So I went over and talked to a young lady, and she said Meg would be back, and I decided that I would be a volunteer.
Had you been around horses when you were growing up?
Yeah, practically all my life, yes.
Had you ever been involved in a therapeutic ride program?
No, I haven't. But when I was over there watching, I said, this is something I have to do, and like I said, I volunteered on the spot.
Kathy, can you talk about the Adopt a Horse program?
Oh, I adopted a horse named Hoot, and I call him Hootie, and I walk Hoot, I bathe Hoot, I bond with Hoot. Hoot is my therapy, and I recommend this to everyone. Adopt a horse.
Now, if a viewer wanted to come see you with Hoot out at Pegasus, when are you out there, Kathy?
I try to be out there as like 3 times a week, 4 times a week, plus I do the volunteer, and I interact with Hoot as much as I can.
The experiences for you of not only working the therapy for you of being with Hootie, but for actually seeing the children out there.
Watching the children is just, it tugs at your heart. There's a little boy that he has blonde hair, and he's about 6 years old, and he is from an abusive situation. And what I understand with him, I worked with him one day, and he now talks. He come up to me and says, "Who are you?" And I told him who I was, and he'd walk that big horse out there and just get on him, and he would just giggle and lay on the horse and trusting us thoroughly. And it just means so much to me. And I work with 2 autistic boys that just mean everything to me.
And Kathy, when you say you work with them, what are you doing exactly? For viewers who may not understand what's happening out there, obviously Meg talked about it, and Linda was able to sum up for her the experience with her sons. But what are you doing out there as a volunteer who's out in the field?
All right, I'll lead the horse. I will walk alongside the child. I feel like their angel, the guardian angel. I'm a grandmother of 5 grandsons, and I just feel like I need to be there with these little ones.
And have you seen changes in the children as they've worked with the horses?
Greatly with the autistic boys, because I've been with them from the day they started. And they are just wonderful. The interaction that they're starting with each other is just tremendous.
You all have some ideas. Pegasus, as a therapeutic ride center, has some ideas for some fundraising opportunities coming up. Can you talk about some of those?
Yes, I kind of jumped into this. We are going to have a fun day for the children, the family, to come out, interact with the horses, with all the volunteers talk to us. It's going to be food and everything that clown paint, face painting, everything what we can try to do in one day for people to understand what's going on. We need the community.
This is May 4th.
Yes.
So day at Pegasus.
Yes, it's
Are the
12 to
hours
5.
set? 12 to
5.
5.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
And events will go on rain or shine.
Yes, we need a tent. We definitely need a tent. We need sponsors to keep this program going. We need the community.
How would someone, what would a sponsor, this would be primarily in a donation sense, or finding, do you need food for the event?
Yes, we need food, we need a tent, we need we need sodas, we need everything that the community would be willing to do. The funds is the biggest thing. Pegasus will not exist without the community.
Mm-hmm. This is, Meg has done so much, obviously, in founding the group and being instrumental. As she said earlier, the funding's really coming out of her right now, and surely volunteers who are committing their time. And the time's a big need. Can you tell the viewers real quick what some of the activities planned for that May 4th?
Okay, we're going to have face painting. We're going to have, hopefully, clowns. We are going to have, the children are going to be able to interact with the miniature horses. We'll have our famous horse named Lady. She is going to appear on 2 billboards. Mm-hmm. And so people down the bypass can see these billboards and say, hey, Pegasus, wow, this is a place we have to go see. You know, we'll have the date. We will have arrows pointing to where it's at.
May 4th's the date. The event is the day at Pegasus. 843-650-9234. Come out and see volunteers like Kathy. If you've got a tent or porta-johns or food, contact Meg. Help provide. The children will get a lot out of it. Kathy, thanks so much for being with us this morning. Absolutely. Stay tuned to more Carolina People coming up next. This is what it's all about. May 4th, Pegasus, therapeutic riding, 843-650-9234. If you want to buy this great T-shirt, or if you want to donate or volunteer your time, call the number. May 4th's the date.